Well, hello, it's me, John, and I'm back for another video. And my last video I uploaded, I was actually talking about a anime series that I would love to see get some kind of new adaptation, mostly with the anime, a brand new anime series that actually follows the manga more closely. And that anime series, of course, was Claymore. Now, it has come to light that there has been a development. Uh, there's been literally no word of anything for a long time. And then literally I upload that video, and within about, I guess, not even a week later, literally a few days, some news came to light of a live action adaptation. Now, apparently, this is going to be a Western live action adaptation. It's not going to be a Japanese one. Now, that makes a bit more sense, it being a Western one, because of the type of series Claymore is. Now, I'm not saying that to be disrespectful of anything like that, but the way Claymore comes over, the characters are designed to be more Western looking characters. It's meant to be more based in somewhere like Germany, or a little bit like Fullmetal Alchemist, where they are more or less based in Germany. With Claymore, it is meant to be more based on technically like an English or a like medieval setting. The Claymores are mostly Western character design, character designs. It does make sense that this is, in fact, going to be a Western production. Now, just to clear things up, now I'm talking about that there's, like I said, there is in production actively right now a live action adaptation for Claymore, and I assume it's going to be based off the manga, of course, which I'm a little bit in two minds about this announcement. Now, I'm happy that there is some new light, and there is something certainly coming out for Claymore. There's been literally dead air for this series. There's been a lot of campaigning going on. There's been a lot of fans trying to petition and trying to get the attention of either Madhouse or anybody that worked on the anime series of Claymore, also the author of the manga. A lot of people internationally, as well as people in Japan as well, that have been actively trying to get something off the ground in regards to Claymore, whether it's another anime. Mostly it's been wanting a brand new anime series that follows the manga closely compared to what we got previously. But the thing is, I'm not against the idea of a live action adaptation for Claymore. I think it could work. However, it depends of who helms this project. It depends on the writers. It depends whether the actual author of the manga has any sort of creative input into this. Whether a little bit like the live action One Piece, where Oda-san actually did work very closely with the casting of the cast. He also worked with the writing side of things. He approved literally everything to go forward. If he wasn't happy, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't happen. So in order for things to actually go through and to be greenlit and to have the stamp of approval by Oda-san, he had to officially do it himself. Now, I don't know whether this is going to happen for this Claymore live action series, but I would like the fact that the actual author has some kind of creative input, whether it's down to the writing or whether he has some kind of approval with certain things, or they've approached him and he has just signed the dotted line and left the production company to do what they want with it. Now, that's the problem. If the author of Claymore or the manga artist of Claymore, if he has kind of just gone with the approach, just allowed them to do what they want with with his creation, then it's going to not be a very good adaptation. I don't think it'll be a very close one. I know you can't say that it's too early to really be too negative around this because we haven't got anything to go by. We don't have a trailer. We don't have any casting announcements. We don't have anything to go by to really have a concrete opinion about this. I understand that. But I am this is a series that is quite dear to my heart. I really, really enjoy this series. It is one of the very first series that I watched when I was first really got into anime. And it was actually a recommendation of a good friend of mine who actually told me about it, and then I started watching it, and I just fell in love with the world, the setting, the characters. I just thought it was a breath of fresh air because there wasn't anything quite like that back then. And what I like about it is it's just such a great series. It's dark, great dynamic fight sequences. It has really good characters. The Claymore characters are really quite interesting. The shady organisation that they work for is really kind of interesting. The whole dynamic of like Rocky losing his family, and then going on this quest with Claire, and going on this and finding out a lot more about her as a person, and then kind of like seeing all of her Claire's friends or acquaintances, people that she knows from the organisation, all this kind of thing. Now, the thing is, Claymore could work. This is a series that I think could really work as a live-action adaptation. There isn't that many moving parts to this to really make it too difficult for camera or to try and capture it as a live-action series. It's a relatively grounded series. There's nothing too over the top about it. Obviously, there's the whole superhuman aspect to it because the Claymores are hybrid human beings. As I mentioned in my previous video, Claymores were born human, the normal human girls, but the organisation did experimentation on them and infected them with Yoma DNA, which then changed their bodies on a molecular level, and they became superhuman. So they are much faster, much more stronger as an average person, and they are the only things that can actually go toe to toe with an actual Yoma threat that they are assigned to kill or purge. That is the whole idea of the series, and that is the only aspect to a live action series that is going to be a little bit out there. However, the fact is the whole thing is mostly them travelling from village to village, the Claymore doing their job, receiving an award from the person that is in charge of their village or their community, killing the Yoma threat, going to different locations. It's going to be something a little bit like The Witcher. I think it will be very similar to Netflix's Witcher. Now, that might be a bit of a thing because there's a lot of fans of the Witcher games that do not like the Witcher series because obviously Henry Cavill, he was originally playing Geralt, I think is how you pronounce his name, in the Netflix series, and he left the project and somebody else came in to replace the role. Somebody else came in, and apparently a lot of fans of the games wasn't very happy with it, and I don't think Henry Cavill was very happy with it either. But I'm just using The Witcher as a reference point because The Witcher is about the same time frame. It's medieval setting. It's about warriors with big swords fighting demons, going on these massive quests and traveling by horse and things like that. So that the whole aspect of like The Witcher, Claymore is very similar to The Witcher in that regard, where it's warriors with wielding big swords fighting a threat which happens to be Yoma, more like a demon really. and they are practically hybrid warriors themselves, with Yoma DNA within themselves. They're able to really become really strong, and they're able to grow power. And also there is this added thing that they could go too far releasing their power, and they will never turn human again, and they will become the threat that they are trying to kill. And that is the big thing about the series. So yeah, I'm intrigued about this. I am very intrigued about this. I will be checking it out. There's been a lot of dead air about this actually happening. The only name that has actually been attached to this, the producer of this live action series is Masi Osa, who is obviously a Japanese actor. I recognise him. He's been in some Western, he's been in some Hollywood stuff as well. But yeah, he is the only name attached. He's going to be kind of like he's kind of like the showrunner in a way, as well as the producer. So he's the only name attached to this project. So it's interesting that this, after 11 years, I've just found out now that it's been 11 years since the manga came out, and it's been 11 years since there's been any news in regards to Claymore. So that's a long time. There is still a very devoted fan base for this series. There's going to be some debate. There's going to be a 50-50 divide, no doubt, about whether... Because live action adaptations to anything from the anime, usually when they get announced, they leave a little bit of a sour taste in people's mouths. And when I heard about this, I was a little bit unsure, because there's very little successful or very well done live action adaptations to anime, because anime is this type of medium. A lot of the shows within Japanese animation are very difficult to adapt into live action because of how over the top they are and how vibrant they are. And they usually can't really cast. They don't seem to cast them very well. The characters don't seem to get cast very well. They don't seem to look like the characters they're supposed to be representing. The whole story is changed so much compared to the source material. And that's what really annoys me with a lot of live action adaptations to anime. But with Claymore, it's a relatively straightforward story. There's not that many moving parts, and I don't think they really need to really change the narrative too much to try and make audiences understand what's going on. It's a relatively quite simple story to really adapt, but the problem is whether the person attached to this, at the helm of this, the directors, the other people involved in this, and the casting choices that they go with, things of that nature, that is what will either make or break the series. It needs to be somebody that has some kind of understanding of Japanese media, or at least, I think, whoever helms this, but like Masi Osa, who is the producer, he will be well aware of this series. We've been a Japanese actor and from Japan himself. So he's kind of the influencer, I guess. He's kind of the person that will know about this series, so will be able to kind of like give some kind of support to it. But it's the person directing it that is going to be the main fundamental thing, I would say. But anyway, so that's my 5 cents on this. It's been, like I say, it's been like 11 years since we've heard anything in regards to anything remotely for Claymore. I am both intrigued and at the same time a little bit unsure about this announcement. I know, like, obviously the One Piece live action series for Netflix, I know that's gone down relatively quite well with some One Piece fans. A lot of people are quite happy with a lot of the casting choices for it. But that's because Oda had he was in complete control. That is why that was much more successful for an adaptation, because Netflix actually worked with Oda-san, the author, the creator of One Piece, and he was the main person that authorized everything to go forward when it came to casting, when it came to music, when it came to the writing, everything. Now, if that happened a bit more often with live action adaptations, where the actual author, the creators, actually worked very closely with the whole production, then I think adaptations for anime stuff, live action adaptations to anime stuff would actually probably be a bit better. Not always, but I think it could also work because they have much more of a clear understanding of the world, the structure, how it should work, how it pans out. That, the person who created the story, they will have much more of a clear understanding of things than the people producing the series or creating it. So having that resource at your disposal is, I think, a good thing, and I think a lot of production companies need to take that to heart. And I think that's why the Sonic films, even though it's a video game, but I think the Sonic films, the live action Sonic films, have done so well because the people that behind those films are fans of the franchise of Sonic. And also they're working closely with Sega and people there that develop the games, so that is why they work so well. And but we'll wait and see. I mean, I will probably do a trailer thoughts and analysis whenever we get anything of that nature. I really hope this is a good adaptation, because now that we've got a live action adaptation announcement, we might finally get green-lit a new anime to go alongside it. This might actually make the author of Claymore, if the live action series actually does relatively quite well, if it becomes a success, this could actually be the saving grace for Claymore. It could either be a double-edged sword. It could be a double-edged sword. It might not work out. It might end up getting cancelled, and then that's Claymore finished forever. Or then this might be a saving grace for Claymore to make its triumphant return. And you never know. You never know. In the future, with a live-action adaptation, they might want to make an animated version, like they're doing with The Witcher at the moment. They're making animated feature films to kind of go alongside the Netflix live-action series. So I say never. This could happen. If the live-action series for Claymore actually works out, this could actually possibly greenlight the possibility of maybe Netflix or somebody kind of like thinking, right, okay, let's see if we can actually create a brand new overhauled anime series to kind of compensate or to go alongside the live action. Who knows? We'll wait and see, I guess. But thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll be back with more videos very, very soon. So, take care. Bye-bye.